is your name, please?
My name is Eddie Chapman. During World War II, I was a German spy.
My name is Eddie Chapman. During World War II, I was a British spy.
My name is Eddie Chapman. In World War II, I was a German spy working for British intelligence.
Only one of these gentlemen is the real Eddie Chapman. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Peggy Cass, Orson Bean, and Kitty Carlisle on To Tell the Truth. To Tell the Truth is brought to you this evening by Anacin, the headache tablet to relieve pain, so relax tension, calm nerves. Anacin. And now, here's your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you and welcome again to Tell the Truth. Good evening, panel.
Good evening, Bud.
Bud. I tell you, getting more unanimous all the time. We have a special surprise for you and for you later on in the program, so stay with us. Now open up that envelope, if you will, and follow along with me on this first story. I, Eddie Chapman, am a British subject. Just before World War II, I was imprisoned for safecracking on the Isle of Jersey in the English Channel. 6 months after the Nazis occupied the island, I was released. Because of my criminal record, I convinced the German commandant that I had a grudge against the British and wanted to join the Nazi Secret Service. After 9 months' training, the Germans parachuted me into England with instructions to blow up the de Havilland airplane factory. Instead, I reported to the British authorities and volunteered to become a double agent. Together, we worked out a plan. By clever camouflage, the de Havilland plant was made to appear as if it had been demolished. Our hoax fooled the German reconnaissance aircraft, and when I reported to Berlin for reassignment, I was decorated with the Iron Cross. Parachuted again into England, I fed misinformation to the German High Command, which resulted in their moving the line of fire of the buzz bombs away from the heart of London and thereby saved thousands of British lives. In all, I played the dangerous role of double agent for a total of 5 years. Signed, Eddie Chapman. And we'll start the questioning with Tom Poston. Tom?
Thank you, Bud. Number two, how did you get back to Germany after you'd arranged for the de Havilland plant to be camouflaged so it looked like it was destroyed? How'd you get back that time?
I worked my way back as a steward on board a British ship.
Well, number three, do you agree? Is that right?
I don't agree with that, no.
Well, how did you get back to Germany?
I was picked up by a submarine.
Because, well, number two, the British ships didn't go to Germany. Number two, how'd you get back on board a British ship?
They went to Portugal.
Oh. Do you agree with his story number one, please?
Certainly.
And how did you get back into Germany from Portugal?
I was flown to Madrid, and from there into France.
I see. Number one, do you know when the first buzz bomb landed in England?
Yes, November 41.
Thank you. Number two, do you know where the first buzz bomb landed in England?
No, I don't.
Because I was there.
Ooh, I'm glad you weren't any closer than you were.
I was pretty close. I was in the Strand, and it landed in Leicester Square.
Oh.
Peggy Cass.
Number two, as a former safecracker and spy, what do you do now?
I'm in the antique business.
Thank you. And number three, when you crack a safe and you move that, that thing around like in the movies, what is what is that thing that they call it that makes the clicks?
Tumblers, you say?
It's just like a murder mystery. Tell me, number one, the Nazis occupied not only the island of Jersey, but another island in the Channel. Could you tell me the name of that other island?
Guernsey.
Thank you. And number two, whom did you report to in Germany? I mean, who was the head? What was their spy system called?
The Abwehr.
The Abwehr. And number two, who was the head of the Abwehr?
Admiral Carneros.
Thank you.
Orson Bean.
Number one, I want to get a couple of things straight. Now, I can understand how you could fool the Nazis into thinking that the aircraft factory or the de Havilland factory had been blown up. But you went on for 5 years. Now, wouldn't there have been other German spies who would send the word back that it's still there, fellas?
I think it's very doubtful.
Really?
The camouflage was extremely good.
And yet the, number one, the factory was able to continue producing planes?
Certainly.
That's extraordinary. Number three, when you had them, when you gave them the misinformation that made them miss London, where did you tell them to bomb?
Well, it was to the west of London. I gave them time impact information, and they did it on maps with the timing.
And it just landed in fields or things?
Not necessarily in fields, on the outskirts of London, not in the centre.
But not as many people would be in the target area, huh? Number two.
Kitty Carlisle.
Number one, who was the head of British intelligence?
That is a secret I cannot disclose.
Even now?
Not even now.
Can you disclose who was the head of British intelligence during World War II?
No, I cannot.
No, that's right. He might not even have known.
Number three, did you do this on your own when you first contacted the German commandant on the Isle of Jersey, or did the British give you the idea?
No, but I was in prison at the time.
And this was your own idea?
No, they came to me. It was my idea to join.
I see. Number one, where were the buzz bombs launched from in Germany?
Principally Peenemünde.
Number two, who was in charge of the operation then?
I don't know.
Do you know, number two?
I don't know.
Number one, did you have a family when you were doing all of this?
I did not.
Did you have a family, number two?
That's all the time we have. It is time for you now to families or not. Mark your ballot.
Fascinating story.
Sure is. Mark them at once without change, without any consultation. Just simply vote now, panel, if you will, swiftly and accurately if possible. Voting for number one, number two, or number three. And of course, our team of challengers will be awarded $250 for every incorrect vote. All your ballots are marked? Very well. Tom, for whom did you vote?
I'm a little disturbed because as we all agreed that it was a great spot and we'd like to really know a lot more about it, so Peggy just said under her breath, let's go out afterwards, all of us, and have a drink. And I think it's such a great idea. But I'd love to talk to the real one, and I thought it was number two because safecrackers have to have very good hearing. And whenever we spoke to number two, his ears moved, so I thought maybe...
Peggy Cass, what is your choice?
Well, I voted for number two because I read a lot of those war books, and it was the Abwehr that was the Secret Service. And that's what he said it was.
Orson Bean.
Well, to me, number two, he looks like Trevor Howard, who's that great English actor who always plays spies. It's too much on the head for me, so I couldn't vote for him. Number one looks like the fellow that always tells James Bond what to do. But number three looks like he is fast of eye and nimble of finger and could have been an ex-safecracker. So I voted for him.
Kitty Carlisle.
I voted for number three because number two said he didn't know who was the head of the Peenemünde operation, and that was Von Braun, who I think is very well known. And I didn't ask number three who was head of British intelligence, but I'm sure it's somebody that we all know and could be discussed, so I voted for number three.
Very well, that splits it down the middle evenly. We'll find out now, since the minds are made up, which one of these three gentlemen, in truth, is Eddie Chapman. Will the real Eddie Chapman please stand up?
Oops, we got
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Fascinating story, isn't it?
You should write a book.
Have you written a book about this?
Yes, a book has been written about it.
Did you write it?
I did.
Good, good.
It is now being filmed.
Be a fascinating story to see
Great
or to
story.
read.
Great
Number
story.
one, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Lawrence Maitland, and I'm a sales representative for Acro Engineers in London.
And number three, what is your real name and what do you do, sir?
My name is James Walker, and I'm a librarian of the British Information Services.
Well, in checking the score, we find you did very well. There were two incorrect votes, and that's twice $250 for a total of $500, gentlemen. Thank you very much for sharing this most exciting story with us. Good night, and God bless you. We'd like to thank Eddie Chapman for flying in from London just to be on to tell the truth. Meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Ardis Bruce. My name is Ardis Bruce. My name is Ardis Bruce.
Follow along again, panel, if you will. I, Ardis Bruce, make my living on horses, not betting on them, riding them. I started riding when I was 2 years old. I have competed in over 50 races as a jockey, some of them against men. I have also been a professional cowgirl for the past 3 years, and last year alone I competed in 35 rodeos. Currently, I am world's champion barrel racer. Because of my experience with handling horses, I was chosen to be an outrider at a local racetrack. Part of an outrider's job is to accompany racehorses to the post and to control unruly animals. I am the only licensed female outrider steadily employed by a pari-mutuel track in the United States. Signed, Ardis Bruce. And we'll start the cross-examination with the star of the Broadway hit, the roar of the grease paint, the smell of the crowd, Orson Bean.
Oh, you worked that in nicely, buddy. Number 2, what exactly is an outrider?
An outrider leads the horses to the post,
Uh-huh.
takes care of unruly animals.
Now, how do you take care of an unruly? Do you whisper sweet nothings in his ear, or what do you do to make him less unruly?
No, you have to ride up to them, calm them down. If a horse should throw his jockey or something, you whisper to
Number
him.
1, how do you calm down a nervous horse?
Well, you sometimes you have to hold the bridle. You do talk at times.
Like, what do you say? Pretend I was a nervous horse.
Say, oh.
Whoa? I've heard that said to me before. Number 3.
Kitty Carlisle.
Well, I'm so impressed. Where did you learn, number 3, where did you learn to ride?
On a farm
Where?
in Kansas.
Number 1, once you get the horses to the post, how do you get out of the way?
Well, you're behind the gate, and you stay behind the horses.
Thank you. Number 2, what is a martingale?
What is a martingale?
Yeah.
It's a breed of horse.
Number 2, what is a fetlock?
Fetlock is some of the parts of the horse.
Which part?
Well, it's the growth.
Tom Poston.
How is it again, number 3? What is a fetlock?
It's located, I believe, on the heel of a horse.
Tell me, thank you. Number 3, tell me, what is the sesamoid? I hear about that all the time when I read what is the sesamoid? What is that, anyway?
The what?
Sesamoid bone, sesamoid bone, sesamoid bone. Do you know?
Well, it's a bone in a horse.
Whereabouts? It could be in the sports writer's writing finger. Where is it located, number 3?
Peggy Cass.
Thank you. Number 1, which pari-mutuel track are you employed?
And Hot Springs, Arkansas.
I thank you. Number 3, and what's the name of the track?
The name of my track?
Yeah.
I work at the Pikes Peak Meadows Racetrack at Fountain, Colorado.
Oh, swell. Number 2. Number 2, what's a show pool?
What's a spot?
A show pool.
A show pool?
Yeah. Number 1, do you know?
If the horse you win plays show, the pool is the money on show.
Thank you. Number 3, where are a horse's withers?
That's it. Time for you now. Not to wither, but to mark your ballots.
Are we finished?
Yeah.
Mark your ballots at once without change, without any connotation. Just simply vote. Vote for number 1, or vote for number 2, or vote for number 3. All ballots marked. Very well, Tom. For whom did you vote?
But I voted for number 3. Now, it sounds silly, I know, but let's just say that if we'd had time, I think that 3 and I could have worked out the location of the sesamoid bone. So I thought it was number 3.
Peggy Cass.
Well, I thought it was number 1 because anybody that works around the track knows what the show pool is.
Orson?
I'm convinced it's number 2 because there was a girl in an old Wallace Beery racetrack picture, looked just like her. But I cannot believe that anyone but the real one would say that the fetlock was a growth somewhere on a horse, you know.
Kitty Carlisle.
Well, I voted for number 3 because the way she said the place she worked sounded right. Number 1 could obviously be a bettor and know about the show pool and not a rider. And number 2 said a martingale was a breed of horse. I think it's a kind of a bridle.
Very well, there we have it. With the minds all made up and the votes in as you see them. 3 for number 3, 1 for number One, and that brings us now to the truth. Let's find out which one of these three young ladies, in truth, is Ardis Bruce. Will the real Ardis Bruce please stand up? Thank you very much. Thank you. Number one, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Aura Ann Talbert, and I'm employed an art teacher at the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
And number two, what is your real name and what do you do?
My real name is Jo Stam, and I'm called Bunny Holly at the New York Playboy Club.
Well, I hope you found this as much fun as we did, that you look back on it as a happy experience. When we checked the score, we find there was only one incorrect vote, but that's still worth a nice, round, plump $250. And we thank you very much for being with us. Goodbye, and God bless you.
A special celebrity version of To Tell the Truth on our daytime program. And because of technical difficulties, part of it was not seen by our home viewers. Well, all of us enjoyed it so much that we thought you at home who missed it might like to see it tonight. So here is how we began that show. Paul, would you roll the videotape, please?
We are privileged to have as our celebrity guest today one of the world's foremost producer-directors of motion pictures. What is your name, please?
My name is Otto Preminger.
Now, after this introduction, Mr. Preminger went backstage and joined two imposters. Later, they came back out on stage and endeavored to fool this very panel. Now, here's how the game went. Would you roll the videotape again, please, Paul?
Now we're going to play our celebrity version of To Tell the Truth. Seated to my left behind these masks is our next team of challengers. We have, of course, hidden their faces because our panel, our smart panel, would instantly recognize the real celebrity's face, and we are going to distort their voices for the same reason. Therefore, you'll hear voice distortion through those earphones, panel. Our celebrity guest today is somewhat out of the line of our usual guests. He is not a performer. He makes great performances. One of the most creative directors of all time. His list of motion pictures includes Anatomy of a Murder, St. Joan, The Man with the Golden Arm, Exodus, and his newest film, which just had its premiere in New York, Bunny Lake is Missing. And we'll start the questioning with Orson Bean. Orson?
Thank you. Mr. Preminger, number one, what does Ishpeming, Michigan mean to you?
This was the site of the production of Anatomy of a Murder.
And in Anatomy of a Murder, who played the Army psychiatrist?
It was played by yourself, Mr. Orson Bean.
Thank you.
What happened to the great actor?
Number three, which picture of yours revolutionized the code of ethics in Hollywood?
Well, you probably refer to The Moon is Blue.
All right. Number two...
Kitty Carlisle.
Number three, my husband and I had the distinction of being the longest house guests in history. And this took place in your house. How long did we stay with you?
Well, you mean in Bel Air?
Yes.
Who was counting?
Who was counting?
Ah, that's
Number two, you are often called Dr. Preminger. What is this title for?
I studied law in Vienna.
Thank you. Number one, were you ever an actor in Vienna?
Yes.
What theater did you play with?
I was in the Max Reinhardt theater.
Thank you.
Tom Poston.
Thank you, Bud. Number three, what happened to that cummerbund of mine I gave your wife?
It was cleaned and pressed.
He's so gentil. Should be, even if it isn't, it should be number three. Number two, may I ask you, who's married to Stanley Prager?
Just an actress who played opposite Henry Fonda in my last production on the stage on Broadway, in Critics' Choice. At the moment, I cannot remember her name.
She's a great fan of yours. She thinks you're the...
And Peggy Cass.
Thank you. Number 2, who played the villain in Stalag 17?
I played the villain in Stalag 17.
Gee, you're scaring me. Number 3, where do you live in New York?
On East 64th Street.
Number 1, would you please tell me how many children you have?
I have 2 children.
And what are they?
One of each.
All right, it's time to vote. Take off your earphones, if you will, please, panel, and mark your ballots at once, without any consultation, and, of course, without any changes once you have marked. Vote now for Otto Preminger number 1, Otto Preminger number 2, or Otto Preminger number 3. All ballots are marking, but not all marked as yet. All right, they are now. Okay, Tom, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number 2. I thought number 1 was great, but that's one of those Bill Barr accents. And I thought number 3 must be related in some way to Emily Post. What a gentleman. But I thought it was number 2. George Ann Johnson was that wonderful actress who's such a champion of Mr. Preminger's, whoever he is.
Peggy Cass.
Well, number 1 has got the niftiest clothes and a nifty watch. He sits up so straight and everything. I almost voted for him, but number 3's got class. I voted for him.
Orson Bean, which one do you think is the real one?
I'm really torn between 1 and 3. They both have genuine wit, which the real Preminger has. It could be either one, but I voted for number 1.
And Kitty Carlisle.
Well, I voted for number 3. I don't honestly think it's number 3 because I think the real Otto would have said that we stayed too darn long.
How long did you stay?
We stayed over 3 months.
But you pitched in and helped clean up the kitchen and everything.
Very well. In checking the voting here, we find that Orson voted for number 1, Tom voted for number 2, and that means the 2 ladies, Peggy and Kitty, voted for number 3. So, number 3, you got the most votes. Are you Otto Preminger?
No. My name's Henry Morgan.
Oh, dear. Number 2, are you Otto Preminger? Number 1, I guess you might as well unmask too. What is your name?
My name is Mark Goodson.
Only our boss, ladies and gentlemen, the owner of the show, Mark Goodson and Bill Codman, are the most successul firm in history, and they have owned and operated our little shebang here for quite a while.
What about that accent?
How would you describe that, Tom? What? A Bill?
Bill Barr.
Bill Barr. But do we have time for me to say one thing? Because this has been a very interesting experience for me. I've never done this before, to sit and watch how you learn how to be someone else. And we sat for a couple of hours and tried to learn how to be Otto Preminger. It's, of course, immensely difficult because he's done so many things. And as a matter of fact, I sat home last night with his credits and began reading all of the things that he had done, all of the parts that he had played, the shows that he had directed and produced. And I came out with, if I had respect before for you, I had it certainly doubly and triply afterwards.
Thank you very much. But I think Henry Morgan did better than I.
Henry, yes.
I already knew it, Henry, but you're the sweetest man.
Henry, you sure are.
And my question still stands.
Peggy, I don't know if anybody heard that. You said you wanted to marry number 3?
That's right.
We'll talk.
Mr. Preminger, continued success to you. Goodbye, and God bless you. Oh, my, that was good fun, wasn't it? Time for you. Make it go fast, panel. Good night to you.
Good night.
Good night to all of you. Of course, we'll see you next week at the same time, and I'll see you tomorrow afternoon on the daytime show. But in the meantime, don't you forget to tell the truth. Night. To Tell the Truth is the Mark Goodson, Bill Codman production.
Tell the Truth has been brought to you by new self-polishing Aero Wax with jet-age plastic for the tough, long-lasting shine that never yellows floors. New Aero Wax. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth, the preceding program was pre-recorded.